25. New chapter. Sahasravagga. Sahasra means 1,000. Sata means 100. Sahasra means 1,000. Sata Sahasra, 100,000. Tens of 100. 100. Still coming. Here, but some more chairs. Front. Come and sit down. Can we start? You have got some chair in front. You have got chairs in front. Empty one. Yeah. Full house today. You have your own territory. When you come and sit down, have been watching. The person was always in the same place, that person is always in the same place. Right. Sahasam api chevacha. Pada samhita ekam gatha padam seyo yam sutta upasammati sahasam api Jevacha anatta pada samhita ekam gatha padam seyo yang sutta upasammati. Meaning, better than 1,000 utterances comprising useless words is one single beneficial word by wearing which one is pacified. Meaning is simple. Now you are used to many of these Pali words, I think now. Just now I told you Sahasra means 1,000. Vacha, word. Vacha, word. Anattha, meaningless. Attha means meaningful. Anattha, meaningless. Pada, also another word for words. Meaningless words. Ekam gatha. Ekam means one. Gatha, like poems in the Pali language, we call Gatha. In Sanskrit, we say sloka, Pali, gatha, Bengalis, kavi, recital. Easy to memorize. Therefore, many of these teachings are recited in gatha, poems, forms for people to remember easily. Ekam gatha padam seyo. Seyo means good. Yam sutta upasammati. Sutta means listening or knowing or learning. Upasammati, gain some sort of satisfaction in our life. A word by word translation. The reason why the Buddha wanted to utter this kind of sermon for people to understand the difference of worldly knowledge and difference of the spiritual development or understanding. We can claim we know everything here in this world. All the scientific subjects, philosophies, psychologies, languages, techniques, we know everything. And we know about galaxies, suns and the moons. And we know how many planets or stars are there in one galaxy. We know, we study. And we know how far from sun to the moon and earth to the sun or the moon. We know everything. Then you can glorify. We know everything in this world. But none of these knowledge, understanding, bring you peace, happiness and satisfaction in your life. Create more confusion, create egoism, pride, argument, but no spiritual development, no peace in the mind. There are people who have never studied any languages, who have never studied any particular religion or philosophy, never practiced any religious ceremonies or rites and rituals. But through their understanding, they try to find out what are the right things to be done, what are the wrong things to be avoided. By using their common sense or sense of reasoning, we have our intrinsic or the natural sense of reasoning, but we deprive this sense of reasoning by accepting religious dogmas, belief, without analyzing. We never give a chance for our mind to use this sense of reasoning to understand whether these beliefs are meaningful or significant or practical or useful, just as tradition or belief we maintain. But those who have not studied any of these things, there are many, who can understand what is right and what is wrong. Because they have their humane qualities, virtues they have cultivated without depending on God or the Buddha or anybody. They know how to maintain their human dignity. They know they have intelligence, so they use. So sometimes religious people cannot argue with them. The reason that they give, by using their own common sense and experience. And those who have learned all the worldly subjects today, how many things are there for these students to learn? The education system has become real torture actually to these poor children. Early morning they get up and get ready and walk and study in the school, come back, then again going out for tuition, come back and again study. And at that age, they must have some sort of time to play. That is very important for the children. But here at home, parents are threatening them, beating them, blaming them, asking them to study this, study this, study this. This is the nature of modern education, because it is a job-orientated education, competition. Otherwise cannot find out a suitable job. But ancient system of education is entirely different. They never had this job-orientated education. The main purpose of education is to create discipline. That is the first thing. Discipline, how to maintain your dignity, how to live as real human beings, what are the duties and obligations and responsibilities that you have to fulfill, and how to live in this world without harming and disturbing and bluffing others. These are the basic principles of the ancient education. Today they have neglected all these things and give them book knowledge and so many languages, so many subjects. After that their minds become very dry. They have a dry knowledge. They do not know how to use their mind in sympathetic way, reasonable way. So the modern education system is a real nuisance actually. Because of this competition. After learning all these techniques, languages, how do they behave? Their behavior become nuisance to the public or to their family members also. Because they were not trained from their childhood to have discipline, how to respect the parents and elders and religious people and the leaders of the country. They were not trained. And not to disturb the public. So without these responsibilities, education is useless. Again we come to religion. You can say, you have read Buddhist books, Christian books, Muslims and Hindus and various other religious books. After reading all these things, you have developed more confusion in your mind. You never get the clear picture of religious way of life. You can say, the Buddha says like this, Jesus says like this, Muhammad says like this, Krishna says like this, Socrates says like this, and Lao Tzu says like this, Confucius says like this. All the quotation. But you have not cultivated your way of life according to any particular religious way of life. Again, you study philosophy, Eastern and Western and ancient and modern philosophy and psychology. Now your knowledge is enriched with so many ideas or ideologies, but you do not know what to do now. You cannot decide. I have given this in one of my publications. A well-known, well-educated man has written a book. He is known as a well-educated man who knows many things. So he handed over this to another well-educated man to go through and comment. So after in a few pages, he gave him a piece of paper and asked him to write. He says, I know everything, I have written all the important things here in this book. So he gave a piece of paper and a pencil and asked him to write what he knows. Can you write what you know? He went on thinking and thinking and thinking. He cannot understand what he knows. He said, I'm sorry, I cannot write. All right. Then can you write down what you do not know? Again he went on thinking and thinking. I'm sorry, I cannot do that. This is the nature of educated man today. He doesn't know what he knows and he doesn't know what he does not know. Confused. Here the Buddha gave this advice. On 2 occasions, you have heard this I am sure. One in the jungle, again all along the river Ganges bank. When he was there, he collected few handful of dry leaves in the jungle and showed to his disciple. Do you know how much leaves are here in my hand? Yes, only very few. Do you know how many more leaves are there in the jungle, in those trees? Yes. The Dhamma that I have taught you, only this much. And the thing that I have not revealed, many things are just like leaves in the old jungle. But I have taught you what you really need. Not the subject matters that for you to learn for curiosity's sake, a speculative subject, just to argue, just to talk. Those subjects cannot create anything for your moral development, your discipline, your knowledge, your wisdom, but gain only confusion. What I have taught you is this. Why you are here in this world, I have explained to you. Why you are suffering here in this world, I have explained to you. How to get rid of this suffering if you don't like, I have told you. Only this much you need. All the other subjects are not important. But still we do not know why we are here. Not here in the temple. But do you know why you are here in this world? We do not know. Of course, religious people can create all sort of stories created by so and so. If not, others say not created by anybody, it is coincidence. It is coincidence. Some others say come from the universal consciousness, and some others say is accidentally. These energies and elements accidentally when they meet, just like thunder and lightning, nobody planned earlier, then the clashes take place. Exactly these life also come into existence like this. No one has planned anything. Different, I believe, they have. But the Buddha says, I told you earlier also, in one of my discourses, Naidang atta katang bimba. This life is not created by us. We say, this is my life. But this is not belong to me, not created by me. But I am responsible. Naidang parakatang agam. If life is miserable, somebody else is not responsible for that. You are responsible. Hetum paticca sambhutam. And here, this is scientific interpretation. Hetu. Factors, elements combined together. Hetum paticca sambhutam. Things or the life come into existence. When it combine together, life come into existence. But there are so many forces behind. Hetu bhanga nirujjati. When these factors dissolve, disintegrate, that one disappears. Nirujjati, disappears. This is the fact. This is the truth. When you analyze, we can understand. So we cannot depend on another person. We cannot blame or praise another person for our existence here, or for our pleasure or miserable life. We cannot blame another person. We are solely responsible. We need only this understanding. All the other things, of course, for your worldly existence, you have to deal with so many things because you have so many commitments, responsibilities. So the worldly knowledge is important for you to lead worldly life, but the worldly life creates more and more headache and problems and disturbances and no end. Worldly knowledge never gives the answer how to solve our human problems. Scientists also cannot give answer to solve our human problems. Politics also cannot give answer to these human problems. Then I don't think even God can give answer to our problems. Because man has become cleverer than God. Man knows how to bluff the God. One day when I was discussing with a Catholic father, very frankly, I asked him, Father, what do you think about this creation? Why God created these human beings to suffer like this, lots of discriminations, enormous problems, and what is the difficulty for him to create a life to lead peacefully without facing such problems? As a joke, he said, I think at that time God has created without having any experience. It is a joke. Even they also can understand why these discriminations, because there is no answer. So the Buddha's explanation is very clear. He said there is nobody to create you. Although you yourself is not the person who created you, but you are responsible for your life to condition this life, because the ingredients were created by you. Then you must know how to handle it. You must know how to make use of it without misusing and abusing. Otherwise, you get into trouble again. When you get into trouble, you go and pray and worship. It doesn't solve the problem. Simply by worshipping and praying. But if you follow the advice given by the Buddha earlier, it is not necessary for us to pray to anybody. Because we follow the noble advice, what to do, what not to do, how to avoid and how to do, what are the duties, what are the responsibilities. But by neglecting all these things, when we are in trouble, we go and pray. But who is going to solve this problem? Because we are responsible. So this Gatha, the Buddha says, Sahasramapitevata Anattha Pada Samhita. You may learn 1,000 subjects, but you cannot find anything in those subject matters that you have learned to give you or to maintain peace, happiness, satisfaction in your life. But if you learn only one word or one particular subject which is meaningful, that can help you, support you, to console you, to satisfy, to gain some sort of confidence in your life. One word. Sariputta, the Buddha's chief disciple, he was searching the truth, because he could not satisfy with the existing religious beliefs and practices. Just like the Buddha earlier, as a prince, after renunciation he went to meet so many religious teachers, but he could not gain what he wanted, what he wanted to realize. That is why he tried his own technique, method. Just like Sariputta also going on searching here and there to find out the meaning of life. What is the meaning of this life? Then he saw a young monk, so serene, very pleasing to the eyes, well disciplined, and he thought this person must be somebody. So he approached him and asked, can you tell me actually who is your teacher? What is your religious knowledge? What sort of religions do you practice? Can you tell me? Then he told me, Assaji. His name is Assaji, the traveler. Very recently I became a monk. My knowledge of the Dhamma is very, very poor, very little. I cannot tell very much. Then Sariputta said, Appangva bahumva bhasassu atthanyeya me bruhi. You can tell me even 1 or 2 words or you want 100, 1000 words. It makes no difference to me. I need only utter the real meaning of life. I don't know so many words. Then Venerable Asaji said, I learned only this much. The Buddha, I am the follower of the Buddha. I have learned only this much so far. What is that? I think I am getting ready to become old, I think. Memory is very slowly fading away. The thing that you have recited thousands and thousands times, but now cannot remember suddenly. Getting old. We have to admit it. He said, Ye dhamma hetu pabhava tesang hetum tathagato aha tesang chayo nirodho evam vadi mahasamana. Mahasamana, great samana, the Buddha. He says like this, Ye dhamma hetu pabhava. If there is anything that which exists in this universe, there must be hetu, causes, factors. Without any hetu or without any factors, without any causes, nothing will appear in this world. Ye dhamma hetu pabhava. Tesam hetum tathagato aha. Tathagata said, Tesam hetu. What are those causes? Tathagato aha. The Buddha said, what are those causes for life or anything to come into existence? Tesanchayo nirodho. He also said, how these things exist, decay and disappear. What are the causes? Evam vadi mahasamano, our great samana, our great Buddha said like this. Sariputta said, that is enough. He attained the first stage of sainthood, Sotapanna, because everything is ready in his mind. He realized the truth, opened the mind, just like a lotus bud just come out of the water, surface of the water. When the sun appears, open, exactly like that. That truth is more than enough for him to understand the nature of existence, the nature of changes, the nature of decay, nature of disappearance. But we never analyze these things. We cling to them, develop our attachment, and when the changes take place, we worry, we cry, we cannot tolerate, because we never analyzed earlier why changes take place. When those things disappear, more worries, more disturbances, more disappointment take place in our mind because of that attachment that we have developed towards them, create disturbance. So if we can understand this much, that's why here the Buddha said, one word is more than enough. If that word can give you the idea to understand what your life is, what you have to do and what will happen to you. That is more than enough. But for your worldly life, your family life, you need so many other worldly things. But these worldly things give you enormous problems, create enormous problems. You must be prepared to face them. Otherwise, there is no world, there is no life that living being can exist without facing these universal characteristic nature. No existence. Whether it is in heaven, or Brahma world, or human world, or any other world system. Subjected to these three characteristics. What are those three? Anicca, Dukkha, Anatta. Everything that exists is subjected to these three, including the Buddha's body, also subjected to this. Meaning, everything is impermanent, going on changing. It is a universal law. That is called Dhammata. Dhamma and Dhammata, there are two words. Dhammata means natural occurrences that take place in this world that others cannot influence to stop or change. Such thing is called Dhammata. In simple language, we say natural occurrence, nature. That is nature, our language. Changes definitely must take place, otherwise no existence. Then while changing, decay. At the beginning, it is not noticeable, the decay. Because of these changes, friction here, decay started already. Then after middle age, indications come noticeable. Grey hair, teeth, skin, eyes, ear, legs. Slowly, we notice decay. It is natural. Is there any God who can stop that? Or any Buddha or Bodhisattva who can stop that? Any Guru or any supernatural living beings who can stop this? No. That is Dhammata. We have to understand this. Now decay. After decaying and decaying, energies fading away. Elements remain. Elements are not functioning without proper energies. Then elements also collapse. Then disintegrate, separate. This Dhammata, this natural phenomenon, or this natural occurrence, if you can understand, not necessary to learn anything else. You can forget all the other teachings. In one of his discourses, the Buddha says, Yo tilakhanam janati, so dhammam janati. Tilakhana means these three characteristics. One who knows these three characteristics, so dhammam janati, he knows the Dhammam. Not necessary to learn anything. Real Dhamma is there. To understand this, it is not necessary for you to read so many books. Think. See the world. What is happening? Whole world is a book, religious book. When you observe things, how things are happening in this world, all over the world. When you read the newspaper in the morning, you can understand the nature of the world. And today, I read in one country, they have slaughtered 25 Catholic priests, including Archbishop, in one country. This is the nature. In Chakravarti Sihanada Sutra, the Buddha has mentioned how declining or deterioration starts. We are going on enjoying our life, and maximum lifespan also increase. Enjoy for a long period, then develop more and more craving, more and more selfishness, more and more jealousy, then anger, intolerance, impatience, then develop cruelty, wickedness, then the trouble starts. Going on eating, killing, disturbing each other. It's already started. All over the world, killing each other. It's very clearly mentioned in the teachings of the Buddha. No one can stop this. When you study the beginning of human life, Christianity, Islam and Buddhism, Hinduism introduced in different ways. According to Hinduism, God did not create life at once. First He created a soul, then going on transferring and changing, developing, then the life comes into existence. But according to other religions, God created at once Adam and Eve. Created Adam and Eve, then created forbidden trees, advised them not to eat the forbidden fruit. Then I understand the snake also appeared. At that time somebody told me, I think Vijay told me, if Adam and Eve were Chinese, first they eat the snake but not the apple. Then we will be free from original sin, you know. Unfortunately, they were Chinese. So, because of that, devil influenced them, create temptation to eat. So disobey the God and they ate apple. Then created this original sin. Alright? Let us refer to Buddhism. What the Buddha said. He said, the world that we exist is not permanent. This one also going on decaying. So one day completely disintegrate, separate. Then all the living beings will be born in certain other planet where there are living beings. There are so many. According to their own karma, they will be born. Therefore don't worry. If suddenly disappear this world, You will be landed somewhere else, don't worry. Then after millions of years, those dispersed particles start to accumulate, so they have gravity or like magnetic power. Start to accumulate. Accumulation take place such a long period. Then the formation of this, we take one by one, particular planet or Earth taking place. Then the atmosphere. Now everything is ready, but no living being. Then two devas from one of those Devaloka planet. So when they come down, they had very tempting aroma. They could not tolerate from the earth. Then they took a little bit and tasted food, wonderful. Better than durian ice cream. Then they developed their craving. Formerly, they were suppressing, controlling their craving when they were in Deval. This particular group of Deva. But after eating this, they develop craving. When craving is developed, they lost their miraculous power, they could not go back. I see the similarity of that Adam and Eve created by God, and after eating apple, and those two have come down from Devaloka and settled down after eating this cream, they have lost. The craving is the main cause in Christianity and Islam and Buddhism. Same story, they have narrated in different ways. Only thing, they say devil created the temptation. Buddhism never said devil created. Their own hidden craving aroused, because they were not holy, arahantas or saints. That is how they developed their craving, then attachment, all the other impediment or what you call mental defilement started to develop. Same story. So, actually, can you tell me what is the Hindu concept? How life originated? Professor, can you please, because I am not very clear. You know, how the life, I know not at once like the other religion. First created the soul, then after that to plant life, from plant life to animals, from animals into, then the formations of human figure appear. Not at once. Now, reincarnations of God also introduced in that way. Actually, it is real anthropology. At that time, they have learned what this anthropology is, not Charles Darwin. This Matsya Kurmo Varahascha Nrsimha Cha Vamana Rama Sama Krishna Bauddha Kalki, 10 incarnations of God. Very strongly believe this Hindus. Buddha also one of the incarnations of God. There's every Hindu respect, worship the Buddha. They never go against. First life appeared on this earth in the water as fish. That is incarnations of God. Charles Darwin says first life originated in the water as amoeba. Anthropology. And then second incarnation of God, Kurma. Kurma means turtle. Turtle can live in the water as well as the earth. The development of that life into various forms and live in the water as well as the ground. Second incarnation of God. The third incarnation Varaha. Varaha means pig. Good news for you. Pig, third incarnation of God. That is why the figure is significant to many people. Some sort of religious significance. This is the third incarnation of God. That means four-legged, well-developed physical body. Third incarnation of God. Fourth one is Nrasingha. Nara means human, Singha means lion. Half human, half animal. People believe millions of years ago there were such living beings on this earth. Head is human head, the body the animal. That is the fourth incarnation of God. It's a gradual development. Then, fifth one, Vamana. Vamana means dog, a small size, smaller than this boy. It's a matured human being, but the size is like this, human figure. After this, sixth incarnation, Parasuram. Very developed physical body and muscles are very strong and carry a weapon. Weapon means some sort of axe or like parang. Always carry with him. The development. Physical development as well as discovered something. Gone beyond the Stone Age. Then the next one, real Ram. Every Indian always recite this Ram, Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram for their mantra, for their meditation. Go on reciting this. Every time when they are free, without talking rubbish, they go on reciting Ram, Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. This meditation. So they respect Ram. But Ram was not a great philosopher, but very powerful man, very playful at the beginning, but become the most powerful figure in India. Then God appeared as Krishna. Krishna is very advanced religious figure, very philosophical ideas. Bhagavad Gita, all the ideas in Bhagavad Gita given by Krishna. He started this Paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya cha duskritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. God says, Krishna. Why he appeared from time to time? Paritranaya sadhunam, to protect cultured, religious and good people, to protect. Vinasaya duskrita. Vinasa, destroy. To destroy wicked and cruel and harmful people. Dharma samsthapanarthaya. Here use the word dharma. For the samsthapana, establishment. For the establishment of the righteous way of life, dharma. Sambhavami, appear. Yuge yuge, from time to time. The God appears from time to time for this purpose. The It's a very clear Hindu concept. They strongly believe this. So the Krishna introduced a lot of morals and ethics and philosophy and enrich the knowledge. After Krishna, his last incarnation was the Buddha. The Buddha's name is there. Buddha. The Buddha appeared as the incarnations of God. This belief developed further by the Mahayana school. When Mahayana Buddhism developed, they thought this is a very good idea. Otherwise people cannot understand. But they did not use their God. They say there is a Buddha, it's called Adi Buddha. Adi Buddha means eternal Buddha that exists forever. The eternal God. They changed the name. Adi Buddha. And the Buddhas appear from time to time here in this world is actually the shadow of the Adi Buddha. They are not different people or different human beings. Created by that Adi Buddha. So they have borrowed this concept from Hindu philosophy and introduced in this way. Then people believe this and develop more faith and confidence. Buddha is living. Buddha never died. But many people bring forward this argument. The Buddha is dead and gone. Why do you worship and pray? What do you gain from him? But you do not know what to say. But according to this Mahayana concept, Buddha is living. He did not die. There is no Buddha to die. The Buddhas appear on this earth from time to time. It's only shadow of the eternal Buddha. Then they say, okay. Otherwise they cannot understand. When we say Buddha has passed away, he attained nirvana, he is no more here, but we have to follow his teaching, people cannot understand. But all the other religions, there is somebody. Therefore they also need somebody. Never mind, let them believe, what harm is there? So, ninth incarnation is the Buddha. That means they also accepted Buddha is more wiser. He had more wisdom, more enlightenment than all the others who existed earlier. They also accepted. Then before the end of this world, once again he appeared. That is the last appearance, no more incarnation. Name also given. His name will be Kalki. When the Kalki appeared, and the final mission, after that no more, before the end of this world, that is Hinduism. Very well arranged. Now, Buddhism says, from the beginning up to this date, 4 Buddhas have appeared within this world cycle. Kakusanda, Konagama, Kasyapa, Gautama, Sakyamuni Buddha. 4th. So before the end of this world system, another Buddha will appear. Name is given, Maitreya. But some people believe the same Buddha will come back from Nirvana and appear here. That is the Hindu concept. Not the same person. Another person who have prepared, fulfilled all the qualities, virtues, knowledge, wisdom, are waiting to gain this enlightenment, appear in time to come. Because the time is very important. When people are enjoying their life too much, Buddhas never appear. No use. People are not ready to listen to the Buddha. They are crazy for enjoying. When there are only sufferings, also the Buddhas never appear. Because they have no chance to listen, they are worrying and suffering. By considering this very carefully, when miserable and pleasurable life exists equally, 50 to 50, and then they can compare. That is the time the Buddha will appear. Again, some people say the Buddha has given the time after 5,000 or 10,000, not in terms of years, in the teachings of the Buddha. He said like this: this lifespan of ours is dwindling, going down and down and down and down according to our way of life. Way of life means immoral practices, wicked, cruel, harmful, dangerous, poisonous things have become very common. Everybody is committing all sort of evil and wicked things, but they don't think they are harmful. Even today, so many immoral practices people are practicing, but they don't think they are harmful, dangerous. They say everybody is doing. When somebody is doing something wrong, when you say it is wrong, but they say, okay, everybody is doing. That is not an excuse. That is what will happen, going down and down. Then physically, morally, mentally, also going down and down and down. After they start to attack each other and kill. They started already. All over the world. Lucky here is Malaysia, we are fortunate. Not yet started. So, then the maximum lifespan goes down to 10 years. This we can understand very clearly. 2,500 years ago, maximum lifespan was 120 years. But today, according to World Health Organization observation, they say maximum is 65, average. See how far we have gone down. And this will go down and down and down and up to 10. 10 years old man become grandfather or woman become grandmother. Then the destruction take place, attacking each other. Very few will remain. After that they start to think, what happened to these humans? Why did they attack each other? Then think very deeply. After that, they realize, I think our mistake. Why not we try to develop, cultivate our way of life? Then slowly going, come up and up and up and up and up. When the maximum lifespan goes up to few thousand years. Again goes down. Then the Maitreya Buddha will appear. This is the way how the Buddha explained. That is his prediction. So, He will be the last Buddha within this world cycle. In certain world cycle, only one Buddha. But we are fortunate here, 5 Buddhas within this world cycle. Another one will come. Christianity also says, second coming of Jesus. Jesus appeared again. So they have hope. Only religion, they will say that there will be another prophet in this world, Islam. No more prophets. God has set the last prophet. If you missed, you had it. That is why they are very particular about conversion. Convert people into it. Good. They say we have no chance. But Buddhists and Hindus and Christians say if we miss this Buddha, we can meet the other Buddha. Still we have hope. But they say there is no more hope. And this is the way how religious people interpret all these concepts and beliefs and ideas, whatever it may be. Whether another Buddha appeared or not, actually it is not very important. Next door to Jetavana Monastery in India, there was a man, every day he slaughtered pigs. They can hear how these pigs make noise. How he did that? First, pour boiling hot water into the mouth. Open the mouth, pour boiling hot water. After that, beat and beat and beat and beat and beat to soften the flesh. And they can hear how they tease. The Buddha and the monks can hear. So that man did not listen to the Buddha. There is no use of appearance of the Buddha if we are not ready to listen to him, attend to him. How many millions of people have seen the Buddha, met the Buddha? They were not benefited, they have not learned anything because they were not interested. The Buddhas cannot do anything for them. If the patients who are suffering from various sicknesses are not ready to listen to the doctors and nurses and medicine, there is no automatic cure for them. Exactly like this. So, Buddhas appear or not, if we know the method taught by the Buddha. When he wanted to preach, after gaining his enlightenment, what did he say? I am not going to preach a new dharma or new religion. This dharma existed in this Bharata, in this India. But people have forgotten. I came to remind this dharma, recall into their mind. Therefore, Buddhism is not a new religion, but people have forgotten completely. They were doing something else. So if people are not ready to listen, the Buddhas cannot do anything. When he was going to preach, he met the follower of another religion. He is a religious fanatic, that man. Having seen the Buddha, he is a very serene, wonderful man who has never seen before that. Then he asked, actually, who are you? Where are you going? What is your religion? Then he explained, I am the Buddha, my dharma is this, I am going to preach in such and such place. Then how did he acknowledge? See, there are such religious fanatics. You never listen to this kind of thing. Their minds are not ready. So the Buddhas cannot open their mind by force. It is like this. If the resistant power or receptive power in our physical body is completely gone due to certain sickness, you can bring one of the best specialists in this world to treat him, give medicines or injections. But this medicine cannot absorb, cannot do anything because body is not ready to receive. So specialists cannot do anything. Exactly in the same way. No doubt Buddhas are enlightened. We preach. If people are not ready to listen, no use. You might have seen the Buddha 2,500 years ago, but you are not interested. I told you the other day that young boy who attended the Buddha's funeral existed 2,500 years. Still he remembers how he attended the Buddha's funeral. So, this is the nature of our mind. People come and criticize. Your Buddha is a human. He is a man. You worship him and pray and do all sorts of things. He is not a God. How can he save you? How can he protect you? But you do not know what to think. Because you don't learn. You have forgotten what the Buddha said. The Buddha said, salvation we cannot gain from another person, either from the Buddha or God. We have to work for our salvation. So the method is taught by the Buddha what to do for our salvation. Whether the Buddha exists or not, whether he is a human or God makes no difference. If the method is effective, that is enough for us. But you never say like this. That is why your understanding is important if you want to maintain this noble religion. Oh, 9:30. Yes. In another discourse, the Buddha has said, sometimes better than men, the Buddha says. But here, if their way of thinking is very narrow, they can do any kind of nasty thing. And now this lady, her way of thinking is very, very poor. She wanted to take revenge and destroyed so many lives, valuable lives, and wanted to disturb the Buddha also. Then the king wanted to find out what is the cause of this fire. Who is responsible for this? He could not find out. Top secret. Then what he did? He announced, actually I wanted to reward for those who have done this, because I was waiting to get rid of them. This is a trick. If I come to know the people who have done this, I'll give a big reward. Then this young lady came forward. I am the one who did this. Wonderful. Wonderful. Not only her, she invited her family members and relatives also when she heard that king is going to give a big reward. What did he do?
The king asked them to bury all of them up to here in the compound and massacre all of them. That is the revolt. Because of this incident, the Buddha had to utter this saying. Then the monks could not understand why such a pious lady and few hundred followers who are so religious had to face this untimely death. They wanted to know. Then the Buddha said, do you know, during one of their previous births, although they are religious, they are very good within this lifetime. During one of their previous births, they have burned. I cannot remember whether the house of Pacceka Buddha, Dhammika can remember the story. Huh? Pacceka Buddha, that's right. Dhammika can remember. Later he will become one day my guru, you know. So they have burned the monastery of the Pacceka Buddha. This is the bad effect they had to face, because they have not paid this. So he had to reveal all these things. So there are very wonderful stories. The Buddha never uttered anything unless there is some sort of incident. Then explain, then give some advice, then reveal the secret, why this thing happened to so and so. Appama, next Friday. Okay, sharing of marriage. Start. What is the beginning? What is that? Imina Punya, right. Imina Punya Kammena Upajjaya Gunuttara Acari Upakaraca Mata Pita Piyamamam Suryo Chandi Maharaja Gunavanta Narapicha Brahma Maharaja Indacha Lokapalacha Devata Yamo Mitta Manusacha Majjata Verikapicha Sabbe Datta Sukhirantu Punyani Bhagatani Me Sukhanjati Vidantentu Khidvam Papeta Homatam Imina Punya Kammena Imina Uddisena Ca Khidvaham Sulabheceva Tanhopadana Cetanam Ye Santani Inadhamma Yavanibhanato Mamam Nassantu Sabbadaeva Yatta Jato Bhave Bhave Uju Citto Satipanyo Sallekho Viriyavamina Mara සම් පාතුංච විරියේසු මේ බුද්ධාදී පවරෝ නාතෝ ධම්මෝ නාතෝ වරුත්තමෝ නාතෝ පච්චේක සම්බුද්ධෝ සංඝෝ නාතෝ කරෝ මමං තේසෝත්තමානුභාවේන මාරෝකා සංලබන්තු මා